Beltane blessings to all. This is the first, I guess, departure from how we've usually done videos here on this channel. And some posts that I made online talked about how I would be doing some more videos that were focused more on actual practice than just book reviews. And I'll tell you ahead of time, the rituals and things won't be filmed, but it is nearing dusk. It is getting close to 8 p.m. and I've got the fire started because I will be empowering the vessel for my workings with the Black Dragon. This is quite a first video when we're talking about practice, because the Book of the Black Dragon has a lot of mystery and in some cases confusion around it as to what the book is even for. So I wanted to kind of share some of my initial thoughts on the book and kind of, to an extent, but in a respective way, kind of demystify the core of at least what it is. So maybe people who are on the fence will kind of take this as a push to maybe pursue the work themselves. So the biggest question for me, and probably a lot of people as well, is what is the Black Dragon? Well, it is a metaphor, but it is a being. Initially, there was the void. There was nothingness, and that is where we all came from. The collective consciousness, the original source of everything, was nothing. And how you quantify that is something that evades the human mind. Nothing is not blackness, because black is a color. It's something, same as white. It's not air or oxygen, for those are also molecules. But the void was nothingness, and it was conscious, and it was alive. It still is alive. But for whatever reason, at one point, something broke away from the void and became a light, or something different than the void. And that is where life as we know it, of our conscious state, really originated from, and we've been expanding ever since. So the Book of the Black Dragon, or as I'm going to call it from now on, the Grimoire, because that's all we're talking about in this video, in this series, is an effort to teach the practitioner, or would-be practitioner, how to communicate with the Black Dragon. The Black Dragon, it is a metaphor in the sense that it's not an actual dragon as we think of it, but it is an actual sentient being that dwells beneath our physical realm. It is that void. It is the Black Dragon who sought to snuff out that light. But the fact that that light existed was irreversible. So the Black Dragon has withdrawn to the chthonic realms and is on the other side. And a lot of this might sound familiar to those who have gone through and studied the Citra Akra, or just the void or the abyss. There's a lot of parallels in that. So just like with a lot of things with Peter Hamilton Giles and his work and his writings, the first 50 or so pages talks about the philosophy and the reason why we are planning to do this work. It talks about the dirt track road, which is something that is very similar to the Barren Citadel. The Barren Citadel is a separate work, I would say entirely, but there are a lot of similarities, but they are not tied in together as a collective work. The Black Dragon is going to be a trilogy that has been known for a while, and the Baron Citadel is separate, but it does provide a good foundation for those who want to start working with the Black Dragon. Now, I'm trying to make this, for an intro video, I'm trying to make it not too dense, but there's a lot of ground to cover. The Black Dragon itself, his name is Azde Ahab Harris, and you could abbreviate AHB, or AAH rather, sorry, if you were to be spelling out his name, and that is the evocation, possibly invocation, depending on how you want to view your practice, that would be used to call to him. Now, the Black Dragon has multiple points, the first being the tongue, and then the fang, then the sinistral eye, and the dextral eye. Those are the key parts of the dragon, and each one of those represents a gateway by which you can travel to other parts of the dirt track road. Now, again, AH is the primary force, but he has several emissaries, and I have read through the first 2 points, and within each of those there are aspects, or trying to think of the best way to put it. I think aspects is probably the best way, of each of those daemons of the other side. So within each of those, they will be called while you're doing the working. That is kind of a summary of at least the initial phase of the Book of the Black Dragon. This isn't even 1/3 of the way through the first book. But I wanted to lay the foundation so you can give it some time to digest and maybe listen to it again at some point before we get further on. But this evening, the reason I'm out here by this fire on Beltane, aside from it being Beltane, is that I am going to be empowering the vessel through the ritual, and that is actually one of the first things you do in the book before even getting into the spirits and the associations and their purpose, so to speak, is actually empowering your vessel. Now, one thing that might scare a lot of people off with working with the Black Dragon is that there are no protective circles. There is a triangle here, but that triangle will be swept away when this fire goes out. A brief overview of the ritual is that the fire itself has to completely go out, and at that point it represents the transition of the fire here in the material physical plane as going to the other side. It is burning out from our side and going to that other side. I also chose to start this ritual before sunset, and you'll see it's already getting darker in this video, but because that also to me is another symbol of the passing of this day going into the night. The moon is already in the sky, and as the sun sets, and the fire will eventually dwindle. From there you take your vessel, which mine is currently sitting in a mixture of discarded water, alcohol, and some tobacco and henbane. And that vessel, with the importance of it never having water go inside of it, also being crafted by someone else, but that vessel will be taken out of the water, left wet, and placed into the ash, and made so that the steam makes it adhere to the outside of the vessel. There are some incantations and there's some other things that you offer to the fire. And then you place items such as bent nails and grave dirt and an unkept path, dirt from an unkept path, and just general earth and dirt itself. And these are some of the offerings and things you place inside the vessel. The reason for this is because, as I stated earlier, there are no protective circles, and this vessel, again, your first implement of the sorcery, is what is acting as a beacon to spirits of the other side. The beacon also acts as a repellent, hence the discarded, bent, rusted nails. They are essentially worthless to us, except for in ritual work. They have new life, and them being inside the vessel attracts, confounds, and deters different spirits. The vessel itself, being coated on the outside amidst the water and the alcohol and tobacco essence, serves to attract the spirits. And again, the rusted nails and the ash from this particular fire serve to repel others. So that device, this vessel, acts in many ways, and from my understanding in my initial reading, is one of the 2 vessels that are used in this work. Peter Hamilton Giles, who is the author of this and many other great works, was one of the sorceress brothers of Andrew Chumbly, who wrote the Dragon Book of Essex and the Azosha and other writings. So there are a lot of similarities, but after Peter Hamilton Giles spent many years of his life dedicated to this work, he has his own variation of this sorcery. Trying to think what else we could fit in here that would be pertinent without being too cumbersome. The vessel itself is also, for those of you who may have read the Azosha, the vessel that I am empowering tonight, that I am enlivening, is a representation of myself, in a way. And the open mouth, the top of the vessel of the jar, I'm using a clay pot. If anybody's looking for inspiration, just a clay pot I found at a consignment or a thrift store without any kind of a lid that can withstand heat. And that is what I'll be using. But this vessel is where any gnosis or knowledge that you get from the Black Dragon or any of his attendants or his legion will be put into this vessel. The vessel itself is also to be treated with great respect and care and love. It is to be regarded as a member of your family. And even before enlivening this vessel, I have felt a sense of deep care and reverence for it, almost as if it's a child, which is kind of hard to explain for such an inanimate object that I paid less than $10 for. But before even doing this ritual, I can feel a strong bond. So I cannot imagine after tonight what that bond will be like. Yeah, those are the main points. What the purpose of the work is, some of the preliminary bits of information, what is the void, and empowering the vessel. So I will follow up and let you know how everything goes tonight. I've got a torch here that I'm about to light as the sun sets so I can read. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any other questions about anything I've mentioned in this video, or if your own practice that you want to share, please do so. And I will see you all in the next video.